Welcome back. This is episode 2, diving into the truth that health is wealth. I think that correlating our health to wealth is very important because there's so many similarities in the choices we do for health, to maintaining health and wealth. And today we're going to break them down into what I call my 10 habits you need to implement to build not just a healthier body, but a stronger balance sheet. And what I mean by a balance sheet, remember that simple assets minus liabilities equals wealth? Well, that's your balance sheet. So let's get into it. And we're going to go through these 10 foundational thinkings that I believe are habits not only to create your wealth, but to make you healthier, both in mind and body. And when we do these metaphorical comparisons, smoking is a destructive thing. It gives people pleasure, but it also does damage to your body. The same thing happens with debt. If we go out, buy the fancy car that stretches us rather than put some money away for our future. And we're going to talk about later on the 3 main buckets that we have to think about. The necessity buckets, which are not choice. We need to eat. We need to have a place to live. Then we have I call them the fun bucket, the lifestyle bucket. What do we want to do? Do we want to go on vacation? The finer things. And then the last bucket is retirement. But we'll get into those. But as you can see, the more I think about these things as habits, the more I'm on my way to structure and making choices. So when you think about life, what do? You see a doctor, don't you? When you want to make sure you're healthy, there's to make sure that you're not. Well, it's no different. So habit number 2 is act like you're seeing your doctor and do regularly checkups to your wealth. Why? Because if you catch something early before it escalates, you could correct it. Now they have tests for prostates. They have tests for different kinds of things that if you catch them early, you can make change. Well, wealth is no different. I have a practice. I have many clients. They come into me on March 31st after the year's passed and they're going, I owe money. I go, yeah, I keep telling you you have to make the choices during the year. Once the year passes, you're locked. So what I always tell and what we do in our group of the Wealthness team is we make sure you're reviewing your financial balance sheet regularly, and you're doing it with trusted advisors, people that are not in it for themselves, but in it because they care about you and they want to make you grow in the right direction and not let debt creep up on you. I tell people this is very, very important. I'm going to tell you something. It happens to kids with student loans. It happens to kids with credit cards. It happens to parents, anybody that does this. If you have debt, it doesn't go away until you pay it. So anybody that tells you they're fixing your credit is full of baloney. You only fix it by taking action. And again, you need to review monthly. I like to look at my every day. Simple check. I have all my investments. Ooh, they did good today. Takes me today's technology. There's no reason not to. So I believe one of the biggest mistakes that lead to people not being wealthy is they don't check. They don't check like they would go to a doctor for a checkup. So the checkup is an important habit that has to become part of your normal routine. The third choice is nutrition. This fuels your energy. This protects you from disease. So if you don't think about your investments as a healthy diet, that means you're not managing your capital wisely. You're not growing your income. You're not reducing waste. You're not trimming debt. So the way you get a fit body and stay fit, lean, is by making good, healthy, energetic choices that protect your financial interest, that grow your financial interest and keep you from the dreaded L. Because we know if the L becomes bigger than the A, then the W doesn't exist. We do not ever want the W to be negative. So it starts by thinking healthy. And that's where I do it, is I correlate it to how well I'm eating now and how well I maintain my body and my energy and my lifestyle. The other important habit is exercise. Now, I hear these excuses all the time. I don't exercise. You know what I do to my exercise? I walk. If I'm in a mall, I park as far away as I can from the entrance. So I have to walk into the mall a greater distance. I use whatever is in my path that day that doesn't disrupt my earnings ability or my choice ability that day. And I figure out how to incorporate exercise. Well, I don't need to tell you, with a 1-year-old granddaughter and a 5-year-old grandson, I get plenty of exercise. Why? I'm out in the backyard. He's hitting the baseball. He's making me chase him. There's multiple ways of getting exercise without going to the gym. If you're fortunate enough and regimented enough to make it to the gym, then you're better than I am. But you have to work exercise into your daily mood, into strengthening your body. Wealth is just like your bodies. Your finances need consistent attention to get strong, just like your body. You can sit at home and do 10 push-ups, sit-ups before you go to bed, when you wake up. It doesn't take a lot. It just takes a habit and putting it. And people always say, how do you get so much done? Because each day is carved out with specific time for specific things. If I can't sleep, I don't fight it. I get up and I start writing music, or I start writing a script, or I start writing an assignment. I do not find idle time. If my brain is not letting me sleep, it means my brain is working. My brain wants to do something. That's what other people say. It's something medical. No, your mind is racing. Maybe you have a lot of things going on. It has a lot of energies. The crazy thing about your mind, and people don't realize this, your mind never forgets. That's why it's so hard to overcome things like alcohol and things like that, because your mind doesn't forget. So if you think about habit 5, limit your alcohol, because over drinking, like overdoing anything, overeating, overthinking, that all limits us. So wealth is overspending. Don't be that drunken sailor. Discipline is your superpower. Know what's necessary and just noise. I cannot believe how many people buy things just because they want to compete with other people. It drives me absolutely nuts. I only buy things when I know they're not going to affect my lifestyle. And you have to keep that discipline in mind. It's hard at times. I get it. But don't look at people as competition. Look at them as a potential where you seeing yourself, you can be. Like, I can't be Michael Jordan, but I could certainly want to try to be like Michael Jordan. But I have the expectation that I'm not going to be Michael Jordan. But if I practice enough, I can be the best me I can be. And that's what's behind all this wealthness thinking, these podcasts, is getting you to only work on you, only get you to be a better you. Habit number 6, watch your weight. Well, I don't have to tell you, healthy body revolves around healthy thinking. So obesity raises multiple risks. So it's just like a ridiculous spending and creating imbalance that's unnecessary burdens just your ability to grow. So when you think about obesity, you need to do something about it. If you want to change your lifestyle. With wealth, you need to keep that weight in balance. You need to avoid taking unnecessary financial burdens on and focus on becoming that lean, mean machine and smart growth. So you have a great financial future and a well-balanced life. Habit number 7, take care of your teeth. I believe the most expensive thing is dental care. Have you ever walked into a dentist and realized how expensive it is? So taking care of your teeth could be and then taking care of yourself, not to expension, just teeth. Medical is the most expensive thing. You pay all this medical insurance. You go to the doctor, there's still co-payments. They're still charging you. So all one simple wealthy building thing is, if you take care of your teeth, And you don't need dental care until you have pain, obviously, and you would go take care of it. But surrounding yourself with the right mentors and partners who understand the financial vision, and stay away from this. This drives me crazy. If something is too good to be true, it probably is not for you. There is nothing too good to be true. I am telling you as a financial expert, someone that has seen bad things, and I'm going to tell you a couple of quick stories that are going to scare you. Okay. Elderly people get targeted for lottery winnings. I have 2 cases I've been testified in for senior citizens that were told they won the lottery. They also were told they had to send $100,000 in order to get the $20 million they won. They foolishly wired the $100,000 to this believable lottery ticket. It was a fraud. That's too good to be true. Anybody that knows to win the lottery, you don't give money to get the lottery. But there are these kinds of scams. Identity theft is at its highest levels in history. 1 in 10 people's identity is stolen. Your social security information, your information is out there. Anybody tells you differently, then they're lying to you. So every year you're allowed to request your credit report from the 3 credit repositories. You should be checking your credit every year, at least once a year, and making sure there's nothing on there that shouldn't be on there. These are all the things that give these people to create these too good to be true scenarios. So if it sounds too good to be true, you better wake up and really think it through and seek out mentors and the right professionals to verify it. Do not make bad decisions based on something that sounds too good to be true. Habit number 8, get educated. Well, I already educated myself today. What do you mean? I rewrote all the scripts, rewrote everything I already know in my brain, and I do that almost every day. I pick one area that I feel I'm weak in. Not that I'm weak in many, I don't think, but no, I'm only kidding. I do have weaknesses. And my biggest weakness is patience. And I always love this saying that one of my closest friends from 6th grade says to me, anger loses battles. And I always say to him, what you mean? Anger and patience work together. If you stay patient and avoid anger, you will win the argument. If someone is arguing, you're not going to convince them to your way. Now, I can sit there and disagree respectfully, but at some point in time, I have to have patience not to let myself get angry. So ever since I've been a college professor, I've gotten much, much better at it. And I'm realizing that I want to be patient. So even though I've told my wife something 10 times, and I used to freak out and said, I've told you that 10 times. I now just answer it. It's so much easier for me to re-answer the question over than it is to explain that I've explained it to you 10 times. And it's that kind of patience and that kind of educational process that works in the wealth. I don't have to make choices on the spur of the moment. I can take time to build my wealth because wealth, like we talked about, takes time. So number 9 is kind of follow through to that patience thing. When you're angry, when you're not patient, when you're stressed, when you have anxiety, you go through what I call this burnout. Your immune system weakens. Your judgment is clouded. You cannot operate when you're under financial stress. What you have to do is take patience, remove anger from that stress. Then you have to take over control by managing your income, managing your obligation. The number one way to become successful is make yourself worth more money. And I tell this to all my employees, my students, you want to make more money? Show me how you're making me more money, because that's what a boss wants. So that is a choice. If you keep building your abilities, you're going to add more wealth. You're going to start getting financial stress overcome. And then number 10, which is always my favorite one, remember all the other habits. Revisit all other 9. And now think about this. If we were to spend 5 minutes a day walking through these 9 habits as a check, And I always encourage you to take out your notebook and go, boy, man, I didn't follow habit 1. And what happened when I didn't follow habit 1? And I didn't go down 2. And Ben Franklin, who's one of my mentors, I love, I read everything he's ever written, his biographies and stuff. He used to write down everything he did good in a day and everything he could have done better before he went to bed every night. A practice I do. Same thing with wealth. If you don't write down where you are and where you want to be, your wealth is going to stay flat. Don't do that. Commit to these 10 habits.